Hey, do you love the environment? The Environmental Commission advises the City Council on all sorts of environmental issues, and we need you to get involved.
Do you want to impact the vibrancy and identity of the city of Norfolk? Well, the Norfolk Arts Commission plays an important role in supporting the arts community, from impacting cultural equity to funding arts organizations and making decisions about public art.
And if you want to encourage play in Norfolk, the Recreation Commission is for you. This commission advises the Director of Parks and Recreation on all kinds of recreation in the city.
Apply now for your seat at the table to 52 active boards and commissions advising City Council. Applying is easy. Go to norfolk.gov, go to your menu, Government, Boards, Commissions, and Authorities. Select your board or commission, fill out the application, and that's it. Leave your legacy on the city you love. Apply today.
Hey, do you love the environment? The environment.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Councilman Clanton, and I appreciate you for joining us live, or if you're watching this later on. But welcome to Councilman Clanton Connect. I'm very excited tonight because we're going to be talking about boards and commissions in the city of Norfolk, who they are, what they do, how you can be a part of it. And I'm really excited to be able to have joining me tonight our very own city clerk, Richard Allen Bull, who's going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to bring Alan in right now. Good evening, Alan.
Good evening, Councilman. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
You know, tell a little bit about Alan Bull here. He has served as the chief deputy, and now he's serving as the clerk of the city council, clerk for the city. But I have known Alan for a number of years, my time when I was at the chamber, and then, of course, working with Norfolk Public Schools. But he is definitely an asset and a jewel for the city, and we're glad to have you here tonight, Alan.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And dedicated, because it's 7 o'clock at night and Alan's still at City Hall. So, but
it's the people's building.
Hey, there you go. So we're going to talk about, and we just saw a video that was put together by communications about boards and commissions and what they are. So I'm going to talk about boards and commissions and what they do, and just kind of go over what we're going to do today. So we're going to cover what are boards and commissions, Norfolk by the numbers, kind of looking at about the number of boards and commissions and people who are actually serving on them, why it's a good idea to serve, the application process, and we'll actually bring that up and walk it through. And then also some pro tips, what you should do before and after you submit an application, and then also some suggestions on effective membership while you're serving in those particular areas. And then we'll open it up for some Q&A. I think that's pretty fair. So I'm going to kick it off here, Alan. If you want to start off with, what are our boards and commissions for the city, and what do they look like?
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to say that, the 8 members of the Norfolk City Council are dedicated to appointing folks, citizens, to boards, commissions, authorities, and committees. It's a great way to get the community's diversity and makeup. And we want to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table. Doing so, boards and commissions are they can be advisory and decision-making bodies made up of appointed residents, again, to help guide city policies, programs, and services. What you don't understand sometimes is that boards and commission members play vital roles in local government by providing the insight and input and oversight needed for city council recommendations. And, they just help foster an environment where knowledge, wisdom, and your expertise is as a dedicated citizen is needed, and you can contribute, meaningfully to your city's success and growth. So we certainly encourage you to go to our website, which we'll go through later on in this program, and help walk you through the possibility of applying for a board or commission seat.
Absolutely. And I know that for a number of years, but for many people know that I came from the school board. But I was one of the second class, because the first group were elected in 2016, and then I was elected in 2018. But prior to that, the school board was appointed. It was an appointed school board, and so we have a lot of different. And when you look at the school board in itself, right there, they make all the rules. They set the budget, they make policy, hire the superintendent. But then we have a multitude of different boards and commissions throughout the city. And so, Alan, if you want to just kind of, add a little bit about what types of boards and commissions that we may have out there and what they might do.
Sure. Well, I think the first thing you need to do is go to our website, which we'll get to in a minute, and look at the 50 plus board of commission spaces that we have boards that we have available for you to apply. Some require specific categories, especially those, say, in the human services or planning department or architectural review. You may have to have a degree in a certain, but that's just one person on that board. So there may be citizen participation available as well. So when you go to the website and you look for a particular board, commission, authority, it will tell you, once you click on that, exactly what seats are available and what's needed for that board. But for instance, like the planning commission, they review all land use and development proposals that are moved towards for city council's vote. It's very, very important that we have the planning commission to help guide the city council, when needed. We have architectural review board, and that's oversight of city standards in historic districts. We have several historic districts around the city, and it's very important that we have folks from that particular community, serving on the architectural review board. And then we have the wetlands board. They discuss everything from regulating piers to riprap, and that you have to. You just can't build piers, in the water. You've got to have a little permission here and there. So they help guide citizens, in the right directions. They're not there to say no, no, no. They're there to help citizens, complete the application and get the permit, because we want this to be a friendly city, and we want our board and commission members to understand that, they liaison between the community and council, and it's very important that we continue to have that robust conversation between council and our liaison. So and then we have like the environmental commission. Some people like trash. So, they like to pick it up, so it's nice that we have folks that are willing to serve on a commission that wants to concentrate on the environment. It's everything from paper bags, plastic bags, you name it. And they bring recommendations to the city council saying, I remember years ago, we started undertaking a no smoking policy. Well, the environment was saying, they couldn't stand cigarettes on the floor, and also they were one of the commissions that really went to city council and said, please help us, getting a no smoking policy in the city, in restaurants, outside of restaurants, having designated space, because people don't pick up behind themselves, and, they wanted a clean environment. And then, we have like the tree commission. Everybody needs more trees, and it's good for the community, good for the environment, good for the air. So our tree commission is very active in planting tree groves in and around the city. And there was a commitment from our former mayor years ago that the tree commission would plant, it's like 100,000 trees in 10 years. And so they're still moving towards that goal, but they help citizens. If you need a tree from our the arborist, they'll help. They'll work with you and how to help get you a tree. And so there's a lot of folks don't know the city has free trees. If you put it on city property, and they're there to help. So, but I will say it's what people find very odd is that we have more applications for the environmental commission and the tree commission than any other commission of the 50 plus commissions that we have.
Oh, so wow. That's something new that I learned.
Our citizens are very committed to a clean, nice environment. And that's nice to know. So
definitely.
So I encourage you to look at that.
Definitely. And so, Alan, looking in that, I did not know that the tree commission probably had one of the most. Where are some challenges at where we don't have many people who apply?
Well, we can always use people in our human services department. It's not just it's one of those, our social services commission, that and the community services board. Sometimes you're dealing with situations that are not all happy, but we need people that understand the needs of the community and that can help move forward and get the help for people that really are in need. We always can use help with the bike commission. That's another commission that's people, for some reason or another, that's another, it's probably the number 3 most applied for commission that we have, that we can always use folks there. The environmental commission always needs folks. So
Definitely.
And then our veterans commission, we can use folks there too, but that's a qualification. You have to be retired at a certain rank in order to be placed on that. But we have many people in this area that are retired military and do qualify.
Absolutely. And when you mentioned some of like the community services board and human services, in some of those descriptions in there, they actually are looking for individuals who lived through it or are currently living in those situations and have lived experiences. So I know sometimes you see an architect or whatever else, you don't necessarily need to have a certification or a degree. They just need your lived experience to be at the table.
Yes, and any human services department, which we call a social services commission, and the community services bureau, we have categories in on both of those commissions that could be living in a house with someone that needs help, or has lived in a home with someone, or has had a family member. We call it citizen interest. If you don't qualify for that, we still have some citizen interest, which can be anybody on the street that just has a compassionate heart and wants to, sign up for that commission, and we could really use their help.
Absolutely. So that kind of leads me to my next question here, which is why serve? I know you've kind of laid that out there, and you mentioned this earlier about, influence local decisions. So kind of chime in a little bit about that one as to how they can do that.
Yeah, well, for one, not everyone is called to serve. So when you are given that opportunity and you feel you can make your community better, what better thing to do than to serve your community and people in it? It does help. I see, expand professional networks if you're, if you're doing it for that reason. But, most people like to do it because, they want a platform for citizen participation, and this gives them that platform. And then they help the city ensure transparency and accountability, because these commissions are appointed by council, but they're mostly they have the city. They have a city employee that sort of is the liaison. Excuse me. And you kind of hold them accountable, and they know these, like, especially with human services and these types of departments that have a lot of governmental grants, and it gets very murky. But the commission is there on a monthly. They meet on a monthly basis, and they go over all this information, and it just keeps everything clean. And if you want to participate and have that voice, that's what you should do. And some of these boards and commissions also give our residents quasi judicial powers. With the wetlands board, your decisions, if the applicant doesn't like your decision, it's going to the court, and then so your decision heavily weighs on how that is seen in the court for their review there. So the planning commission, it's the same thing. They have to make a decision, and it goes to council, and council reviews their decision. Oftentimes they accept it, sometimes they don't for other reasons. And, ARB, Architectural Review Board, they send their decision to planning and planning to, but, I think that people as a whole, our citizens really want to serve the community, and they just don't know how. And
Yep.
this is a wonderful reason and a wonderful way to give your skill set back to the community.
Absolutely. Appreciate that one. So, you kind of, if you're an individual at home and you're mulling thinking about this, how do you serve? We're going to go through now, how do you actually do that? And so you've got it up here. This on the slide, it's the full, but if you just type in www.norfolk.gov/boards and commissions, it'll take you to the same website. Alan mentioned about review, there's different eligibility and requirements. And so you'll see that, and then also you'll submit the application. But I'm going to pull that in now so that you can actually take get a look at what that looks like. So I'm going to pull that up there. There we go. So once you've actually gotten to that website, you get here. So Alan, I'm going to let you drive here. I'll just kind of move the site.
Sure. And just to let everyone know, you can access from the front of the website as well. You just see at the very top, the 5 bars there. You can just go to government. Once you're on the website, go to government, and then over here to your left, you'll see you go this way. Boards and commissions to your right. You're using a different format than I have. Down to the bottom of the right, and it'll get you to the same page. So if you missed the link that was presented, you can also enter that way. So first of all, you might want to go to, I can't see it, a list of vacancies. The second, how to apply, the list of vacancies to your right right there. And we every quarter, we have a list of current vacancies that are available for you to apply for. Now, you may see something else that is not on here that you want to apply for. That's great. Always submit your application. We hold them for a year. We have a talent bank because we never know from month to month, for that matter, week to week, who may be resigning and need to be replaced immediately. All of our boards need quorums to vote and to take care of matters. So please always send your application in, and within 24 hours, you'll have a receipt saying that we have received it. So this particular quarter here, it shows you the 9 board commission authorities that we're considering, council's considering for appointments. Now, if you scroll down, some will note, like number 5 here, Norfolk Community Services Board has specific categories that are needed. So if you're a person, or you know a person that's experienced being unhoused or homeless, or you are this person, then we're looking for someone like you. And then we need citizen representation as well. Now, Mr. Clanton, if you can go to the next, scroll. Let's go to the next slide.
Gotcha.
Thank you, sir. And if you scroll down to Norfolk Boards and Commissions, the next one, yeah, right there. Now, this is a list of all of the boards and commissions that we currently have. And this can fluctuate from 50 to, I think now we're at 53 because we have 3 subcommittees for our housing commission that we just put online. But that will probably last for up to a year. So we don't know how long that appointment will last because right now the housing commission is being brought together to formulate a housing policy. Thank you, Mr. Clanton. I should know that. You're the co-chair of that particular commission. Anyway, scroll through all of these areas and see if there's something that actually, floats your boat, so to speak, and tweaks your interest. Once you see
I know, like if in the search one, I'm just going to type in housing, and it pulled up the Mayor's Advisory Committee of St. Paul's and the Housing Commission and those subcommittees.
Yeah. So they're all right there. And it just maybe put recreation in there so you don't have to scroll down, and it will take you to recreation. So if you if you click on that, it will tell you, current roster, board details, and then the next tab will show you, and you can scroll down, and they have different reports and so forth that you can view that have been submitted to us. And we usually ask for a yearly report from board commission chairs. And this one will give you the current membership list. So if you go back to the board details, sir, well, you go back to recreation.
Oh, go back to recreation. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me go back.
Board, the little gray box there, board details. Yeah. So if you scroll down a bit, you'll see enabling legislation. Now, what that is sort of like bylaws of that for what they do, how they do it, who they report to. So you can always click on that. If it requires certain categories, it will be in the enabling legislation. So it's a bit more detailed information about that particular board, commission, or authority. And then up to your right, if you scroll up, you'll see apply, the green box. Simple as that. Click on that, and then it takes you right to the application. And the application is pretty, I think everyone, it's open to everyone, actually. There's nothing surprising about an application, but you have to understand that there are a couple of questions that we do ask because you are representing citizens of the city. And one of them that people do not like to answer is whether or not you have had a criminal record and if you're registered to vote. And, you will not be excluded if you've had a criminal record, if you spent your time, and that you will not or if your record has been expunged, that sort of thing. So please, we see quite a few folks put down speeding tickets, and we understand most people have had one in their life, or so if you want to put it down, that's great. At some point, we've found that if you don't complete the application, somewhere along the line, someone from the community or your neighbor or someone, when they find out you've been appointed, will call and say. So it's best to have the information up front.
Absolutely.
And I cannot stress enough how important it is to add your resume if you have one. And if you don't have one, there are a couple of boxes about interests and experiences. So, we understand not everybody has a professional resume, but you can type that out and just, it kind of gives us an idea of who you are, where you've been, what you've done in your life. And, council looks not for the same person they look for a difference in people. They want a community makeup. And so diversity. So, it's very important to us that you explain to us who you are. So, and then lastly, please make an appointment or a call or shoot your council member an email just to make sure they know how committed you are to this particular board, commission, authority appointment. And, they can be your advocate when we're talking about boards, commission appointments in our closed sessions, which we discuss these quarterly. So, if you don't contact your council member, there's not going to be anyone in the room that knows you. So it's encouraged that you do that. And I think that's the single most thing that people don't do, but should do.
Absolutely.
When they're filling out these applications.
So, it's got a question, kind of got me thinking here. So, Alan, do you have to live in the city of Norfolk to serve on our boards and commissions?
Yeah, majority of all of our boards and commissions require that you be a resident of the city. There is one authority, which the authorities are governed by state code, and that's the airport authority, that we could possibly have someone not from Norfolk serve. But, majority, I think that's the only one that in the Chrysler Museum could have one member as well. But for the most part, we ask that you be a resident of the city.
Absolutely. What if you work in the city of Norfolk but live somewhere else?
Well, we've had a couple of situations that on our Veterans Commission, one being the individual that runs the VFW in Norfolk, but they happen to live in Virginia Beach, but their business is in Norfolk, and that's a category that's needed for the Veterans Commission. So that is one particular situation that you know, if council approves it, you know, granted, it has to be council approved, they can serve on that particular board. But I've seen 99% of our members, maybe 99.5%, are Norfolk citizens. That's what our council has preferred to appoint. And we have enough talent. We have enough talent in Norfolk to be able to find folks. So, you know, we haven't needed to go out of town to get folks. We have enough residents that want to do that. So.
Absolutely. I think, Alan, you mentioned some of these earlier, some of the pro tips like that you should do before you apply. Definitely researching your board mission and duties. And I think you outlined that on the website and where you can find that with some of the enabling legislation. But you might want to just attend a meeting or watch. A lot of our boards and commissions, you can watch those meetings online, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, we encourage you to, you know, you see the date, time, and location of the meeting. It is posted on our website. Every meeting that we have is posted. The date, time, and location is posted. And all meetings are open to the public, so you can attend in person. We don't have any thus far that are virtual, and that's because we sort of follow along the lines that we like people to appear in person, and we expect that of our council. So we also expect that of our appointees. So if council, you know, we're just molding the same type of progression that we would for a council meeting.
Absolutely. Another one was speak with current and even past members, just to kind of get a feel of what you want to get in serving. Is it actually something that you want to do?
And if you would like to know, we don't have the past members on our website, but if you call the office, we can certainly give you some of the past members. We have the list here. It's just we only have the current membership listed on our website.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned this earlier. Schedule a meeting with your ward and your super ward member.
I can't stress that enough. That's the most important thing after submitting the application correctly that you can do. You don't understand how important it is to have someone advocate for you, you know, amongst their fellow colleagues, and it is almost vital because you want the right person on the right board, and as a council member, you've had the discussion with this individual, and you know you can push for it, and you know, I think and get it done. And I will also say that this is just a pet peeve. Before you fill while you're filling the application out, make sure you know your ward and super ward. You will not believe how many applications come to us, and we have to change it. And when we send the application to our entire council, you know, they see where we've scratched it out and put the correct ward, and it kind of looks like, well, you don't even know where you live, and you know, so. That's just a pet peeve. That doesn't mean you're not going to be appointed, but it's just a pet peeve. And you can go if you're new to the city, you can go to Norfolk Air, and it has all the detailed information about where you vote, which schools you go to, what schools your children will be attending. You know, everything is there that and your ward, super ward, and unfortunately, probably how much you have to pay in home taxes, but that's another whole issue.
That's a whole other thing there.
I don't control that. But it is.
But there's some things that you know we've just talked about that you should do before you apply. But so you've gotten to the point, you've hit that button, you submit it. What are some things that you should, you know, some pro tips about what you should do after you've applied?
Well, you'll receive a confirmation from the clerk's office almost immediately, if not within 24 hours. It's encouraged also that you call our office here at the clerk's office and ask for Emily Ashby, who actually handles the board and commissions from a day-to-day basis. And she will, you know, let you know that we've received it. She'll go over it. She'll let you know that or have a discussion with you whether or not you've missed an area that you should complete, and you have the ability to go back and make changes to your application and then resubmit it. So it's always nice to give the office a call. Even though you received that email saying we received it, we will not point out any areas that you missed or that you should have completed.
Definitely. And you mentioned that you keep the applications on file for a year, right?
We keep the applications on file for a year. And if there's another board, commission, authority, committee that you wish to apply for, you can submit an additional application throughout that year, or you can call the office and we'll update it. But usually you need to submit your application with the goal of a specific board or commission. And so in your reasons you would like to serve under interest and experience, you might want to be more detailed about the particular board or commission that you wish to apply for and be appointed.
Absolutely.
And don't get discouraged, please. If you don't get a call in 6 months or 8 months, we'll always call you to let you know that if it's 8 months, 9 months old, your application, we'll call you and say, we just want to make sure you're still committed to this particular board because we're submitting your application to council for review because apparently someone has resigned or they have maxed their appointment years out, and so we need to appoint other folks. But don't get discouraged. If you feel like your application's been lost or you haven't heard from the council, just give us a call and we'll let you know where your application is.
Absolutely. And then of course, you may have spoken to your ward and your super ward member, but it's okay. You should really go ahead and schedule meetings or conversations with other members of council because essentially they all have to vote on you at some point.
Absolutely. And the larger the board, the better practice that is. And those boards that are like quasi-judicial power, have quasi-judicial powers like the Planning Commission, wetlands, and I say NRHA. I mean, you really need to speak to not just your council member, but the entire council because they will all be voting. Absolutely.
And I know that from my own new now, or tomorrow makes going into 10 months on council. But I've been very, I guess I remember when I came on my orientation, I got this huge binder, but in the middle section of that binder was every board and commission, and then who the members were. And just as the Super Ward 7 representative, I've been very sensitive in paying attention to ensure that we had more Super Ward 7 individuals represented in serving. And for those who don't know, Super Ward 7 is half the city, but it encompasses all of Ward 3, all of Ward 4, portion of Ward 2, portion of Ward 1. And so just really trying to have those different sections of the city, their voices and their lived experiences represented at the table is vitally important.
Yeah, and there are certain, if I may, council member.
Yes.
There are certain particular areas of the city that could use a better representation, and they could, I know that for some reason or another, and we've created the new video which you just showed with the opening. We're encouraging everybody from all wards across the city to apply for these boards and commissions. But I must say also that once you apply and are appointed, council prefers you not to ask to move. So be committed to the board that you apply for. And that's why we always call before we submit your application to council for discussion. We want to make sure you know what the commitment is, and that because council's not going to move you around from one board or commission to another here and there. There's a commitment. And most boards and commissions have 3-year appointments. Some have 4. We have one that has 5, and we have a few that have 1-year appointments. But majority are 3-year appointments, and it's just very important that you not only love the city, but you love the board that you've been appointed to.
Absolutely. And so there's some, and I appreciate that's great information. And here's some things that you can do to be an effective board member. Like be prepared. Like review all your materials before your meeting. I used to tell people all the time as a governance trainer that there's the work that happens before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. And so be present, attendance consistently, because if I'm not mistaken, you all keep track of attendance too.
Yeah, not only do we keep track of attendance, but if I'm told that a member misses 3 consecutive unexcused meetings, I'll send them a little letter and asking for their commitment, continued commitment. And, life changes, people's schedules change. Sometimes it's just you can't make the meeting anymore because you have a new job or you know. So we understand that. So when I send the letter, it's more about maintaining a quorum and people interested in that particular board that they're serving on. But I do give the opportunity to let me know within 10 days of the letter, the receipt of the letter, whether or not you wish to be removed from the board. And we will do that. So we do take your attendance. We take it, what should I say? Seriously. Thank you. I'm sorry. I was distracted over here. I'm sorry, but no, but it's we take it very seriously.
Absolutely. Well, that's good. And then, you want to be a voice of, represent individuals in your community. And then, like you said, be accountable, follow the rules, ethics and so forth there, because you are appointed, but it's not a life appointment. And you have to still adhere to the rules and things like that. Because very rare, and we would never like to really get into a position, but you may be asked to leave, or even in some situations removed from certain areas. So make sure we adhere to.
And I don't like doing that. So let's make sure you're committed.
You're committed. So I've been sharing for folks here, and it's in the comments section, that if anybody had any questions that they could put those in the chat. I haven't seen any of those come up right now, but definitely if you're watching this video later, and it's amazing. People watch stuff 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I saw you on TV. It's like they're up late. There are a couple ways that you can reach additional information. There's the link there. It's that where you can go. I've also provided a QR code, which is at the top. So if you're on your TV or you're in your computer monitor, you can take your phone out and that'll take you right to the application and to the site there. Definitely, as I said, this is we don't have any additional questions there. We encourage you all to go and to really just take a look at the various things that are going on and that we have available. I know that you had made mention of this, Alan, earlier about the new Housing Commission, and that we just established some new subcommittees. And so I'll be dropping that information out there. We really want, and one of my passions for even with the Housing Commission was to ensure that we had community voice, and not just community voice. I mean, just different professionals and experiences and expertise as we're crafting a comprehensive policy. Boards and commissions, and for me, is that I don't know everything. I am elected to make a decision, and I'm a good decision maker, but I like to get those experiences around the table for me, or to make those recommendations for individuals who are stronger in some other areas. And so this is a great opportunity. And Alan, I appreciate you taking your time out. And I know Emily's hanging out in there as well, to help us get this information. But I'll give you any final words or thoughts that you might have.
Well, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that council, they want to make sure that each appointment includes different perspectives and talents of our community. And so I know we have talented and progressive citizens out there that want to help their community, and there's just no better way other than being elected to help your community really than to serve on a board or commission. So I encourage you to go to our website and just complete the application and the process, and I think you'll find it very fulfilling, rewarding, And I look forward to working with all of you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Alan. You can get back your time for the day, man. Thank you so much.
No. And if you need any help filling out the application, call my office and ask for Emily.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. Thanks, everyone.
So again, I want to thank Alan and the team there at Council, and really encouraging you all, if you're seeing this or watching it later, I'm going to place it in the comment section and be able to see the link or use the QR code. Go to norfolk.gov/boards and commissions. Just check them out if you're interested, and see the plethora of different opportunities to be able to serve your community and to be able to make Norfolk a better place. And so with that, everyone, I appreciate you. If you're watching it live, checking it out later, this is Councilman Clanton Connect. I intend to be bringing more different departments, community leaders, to have these conversations and to provide this information for you all so that we can make our city a better place. And so I appreciate you all. And so with that, have a great night.